Finally, I can talk about this guy. I've been waiting for this album to come out for two reasons. One, I wanted to hear it because I like this guy's music. And two, I could talk about this guy on my channel. Now I can review him and, you know, hopefully put some people onto his music because in my opinion he deserves a lot more recognition and attention than he currently has. His name is Sylvan LaCue. You might know him by the name Quest. He used to go under the name Quest. Maybe you are aware of his Searching Sylvan mixtape. I do remember that did get a little bit of buzz. Like around when it released, he used to be signed to Logic's VMG label, but he has since left that label and started, you know, making music under his own name, using his own brand, Wise Up, which he's been kind of, you know, just pushing and developing since he left the label. And yeah, this new album is called Apologies in Advance, and it follows up his last album, Far From Familiar, which came out in 2016. I thought it was pretty good. It was a very fundamentally just solid rap album with some really great beats, some solid bars, some nice flows, a good structure to it, but just overall, in my opinion, the album just kind of lacked much of a sense of character, much of a personality, like a real distinct flair. It was just like a really enjoyable rap album featuring a really enjoyable rapper over some really enjoyable beats, but there wasn't really much of a distinct, unique flavor to it. And yeah, he's been teasing this new album for like a good while now. I believe the first single to this thing came out back in 2016. Pretty much with every single he put out, I was just like, holy shit, these singles are really great. These singles are real sick. This album's gonna be fucking great. I can't wait for it to come out so I can review it and talk about it and profess the fucking love I have for this dude's music. He's a really talented rapper, and the album is now out, and I can confirm it is fucking sick. Fantastic rap album. I'm loving the shit out of it. I love this dude's way. The way he raps, right? He kind of reminds me of like, it feels like his voice is like super just warm and inviting and just relaxing. It's like he's some sort of just like friendly, just like wise guru or some shit, just chilling with you. He just notices you're feeling kind of down, and he's just like, hey man, that's all good. He's just gonna offer some friendly advice. He's just like, talking to you, and you're just like, hell fucking yeah, life is good. He just has this really just inviting nature to him that I just really enjoy. And his flow is amazing. I really love his flow. Like, I mean, if you're looking for just a key track in his discography and his catalog that really showcases his rapping skill, I would recommend the song Hunger he released while he was named Quest. The second verse on that track still fucking blows my mind. But yeah, his rapping all over this new album though, he's never really quite as aggressive as he is on that Hunger track or on numerous tracks from that Searching Sylvan mixtape. He's not really quite as ferocious on this album here. He is clearly intentionally rapping in a very somber way. This album has a very strong concept surrounding it with all these skits. This album is padded out with skits. It's 20 tracks long and 9 of them are skits. And these skits are very integral to the general message and theme of this album. It all takes place essentially during an AA meeting, which is pictured, I guess, on the cover. You can see the chairs and shit. It's like an AA meeting, but only it's not for alcohol or anything, it's for emotion. Basically, throughout these skits, you're going to be hearing these people just getting shit off their chest and just basically just confessing their issues and trying to better themselves. This whole album is pretty much entirely about just personal growth and coming to terms with your issues so that you can then heal them and become a better person. And that is essentially what Sylvan is kind of doing track for track, is sort of addressing his problems and I guess just getting shit off his chest so that he can then understand his problems and then grow from them. This album is incredibly personal and introspective. I do like how on the song Best to Me, he did address that whole Logic label situation. Very subtly in the end, he's talking about how he has like two choices. You know, he's like, I'm gonna be rich as fuck, you know, I just joined this label. But then he realizes like he's got two choices. He either stick with the label or he could be his own captain, as he says, and he chose that route. On the song Selfish, I really love the sentiment of the song Selfish. I really agree with it too. The whole idea that being selfish has a very negative connotation to it, like you're a selfish person, but it's okay to be selfish at times. It's healthy to be selfish. It's cool to just take some time for yourself. Like if you're busy, if you're working, you're caring too much about what everyone else is doing, like, no, just relax, it's all good, just take some time for yourself. And this song is sort of commemorating that sort of sentiment, that mind state. More people need to make songs about like little things like this, and that's what this whole album is dedicated towards. Little worries, little ways you can just improve who you are as a person. You're going to be hearing all these skits with this AA meeting, just people just talking about just things they can do to just become the best version of themselves. And in my opinion, it's actually really brilliantly executed. And here's the thing, on first listen, I was like, yeah, okay, these skits will ruin the album. That's what I thought on the first couple listens. I was like, Jesus, there's so many fucking skits, man. For my first listen, I went on a walk and I really focused in, so I wanted to hear the music. So every time a skit came on, I was like, oh man, can we just get to the music? But when I just kind of just sat back and just let the album play, just from front to back, and I just heard the skits, it was honestly really just reflective and interesting. I think he does a great job of getting across this concept, this overall message. However, though, I will say there's maybe like one or two too many skits, maybe. In fact, all of the skits in total make up about 13 13 minutes of the overall album's runtime, so that is pretty long. It's a pretty good chunk of time dedicated to skits, and I think that is a small issue, but I do appreciate what the skits represent. I think they were very well executed as well. Really great dialogue, and I'm not sure if it's like actors or anything. It seems really real. Like, it doesn't sound like the performances during the skits, like the whole AA meeting thing. Like Sylvan, did you like not tell them they were part of an album before you did the thing? Like, did they actually think it was like an AA meeting thing that you're like, hey, yeah, this is the apologies in advance on AA, and then like right after they got all the shit off their chest, they're like, hey, it's part of an album. Like, surprise, you're all going to be on my album. Like, was it like that? Because that's how it sounds. It sounds really real. Or maybe they were just getting shit off their chest and it was just, that's just how it was and whatever. But maybe I'm just thinking too deep into it. But anyway, let's get more into the music. Production-wise, it's incredibly smooth, ridiculously sample-heavy, and beautifully jazzy. And it's just incredibly feel-good and relaxing. Think like J. Cole kind of production, you know? Like, it's just kind of smooth, relaxing, just fruitful and jazzy. It's like J. Cole, but only now the rapper is not boring as fuck. But yeah, these beats I thought were all brilliant. I didn't really have a single beat on this thing that I disliked. The only beat I'm a little bit sketchy on would be the beat on Guilt Trip. I remember when I heard it as a single, I was like, man, this beat seems a little bit empty. It seems like it could use just a little bit more oomph, you know, a little bit more like power, like a bass boost or some shit. And then on the album version of the song, he actually did change it up a little bit. There were some like little sound effects sprinkled in throughout, but on the second half of this track, I'm not sure if it's just me, but the beat is just not really hitting as hard as it seems to think it does. And yeah, Sylvan's flow on this second half of Guilt Trip as well on this track, his flow is super just kind of rudimentary and a little bit dull. It gets kind of boring pretty quick in my opinion. And there was one pretty corny line where he's talking about how he makes love, but then it's lemon pepper chicken with the sweet sauce, and then he goes like, like to insinuate it's like delicious. Like, I was like, okay. But I just thought that was kind of like, alright, whatever. The second half of Guilt Trip, that's where it kind of ends me. The first half of Guilt Trip, in my opinion, is fucking excellent. Kill 100 rappers, I send my condolences, is a figment of my imagination. The way he's flowing at that part of the song I thought sounded really nice, and the way it ends it all off with devil and God in a seesaw, like sort of, you know, representing the sort of conflict in his head maybe. My favorite track on the whole album though is definitely the song Empathy. This track in my opinion is all around just super likable. I just fucking love the beat on this track. It is beautiful. The vocals all over this song are gorgeous, especially from this featured artist named Bjork? Because I like Bjork, but just with an N thrown in. I'm not sure what or BJ, I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. I do apologize, but I'm going with Bjork. Her voice was amazing. I loved her vocals on this track, and the outro was just super just like personal and beautiful, and the whole sentiment of the track again is empathy. It's sort of tackling the idea of feeling empathetic in a very interesting way. I really enjoyed it. I thought Head Games featured the best flow on the whole album by far. The way he switched it up consistently through the whole track was really sick. However, I do think the beat switch was a little bit out of nowhere, kinda. I loved all the switches on the song P.O.M.E. Sort of like the equivalent to Kendrick Lamar's Triple X from Damn. It was just really jarring, constantly changing, and really crazy. P.O.M.E. stands for Product of My Environment. It's pretty much tackling how as you grow up and you witness things around you, you sort of become influenced by all those things. You become a product of your environment as you get older. And the way he says it, his fucking inflection, dude. I'm a motherfucking product of my environment. The way he plays with his flow and his cadence on this track is just super entertaining, and the Goku Kaioken reference was really nice. There was a fucking hilarious line later on where he talks about how his little bro watches academics and he couldn't even spell academic. The next track after this, Perfect Imperfections, probably is my favorite beat on the whole album. This beat fucking amazed me. This beat just sounds amazing. Like that little bell melody and when the drums come in, it sounds so satisfying. This is essentially like a love song, and his flow on this track is very similar to Kanye West's flow on the song Addiction. And I think it works really nicely on this track, and the switch up on this track is awesome. I love the way it switches up and becomes just really just dreamy and beautiful. And I just want to say, Sylvan LaCue's sense of melody is just fantastic. The way he weaves in little melodies and just like he sings as he raps, and it just fits so perfectly. Like his voice, it's nothing like amazing or anything. I think he's aware of that. You know, he hasn't really got the most like range, but it's just so like pleasantly melodic in with his rhyme. The way he just like complements his bars with these like sung melodies, I just think works really nicely. Love and Sacrifice is a perfect example of that as well. I love at the end that little I don't want to die kind of melody he brings in. That sounds perfect. It just works perfectly with the beat. The final track 555 as well, which is a super triumphant finish that I just really adore. Like his flow on this track near to the end is amazing, and that little instrumental outro with that like sun-kissed guitar at the end sounds fucking awesome. And finally I gotta bring up the song Grateful. Grateful being a single that came out last year. Probably my most played single, probably my favorite of all the singles he released. This song, it's just, you can't not smile to this track. It's a song all about just being respectful towards everything you're grateful for, just being grateful for all the things in your life that make you smile. It's just such a fucking feel-good track. There's nothing you, like, what the fuck? The fucking, I know I can't help, that little melody that comes in on the hook, it's just perfect. The melodies, the sample, everything about this track just makes me fucking smile. And bonus points for the Kingdom Hearts reference. Like that flow where he goes like, ain't none of myself these days. Like that part right there. Like there's so many nice little melodies and flows he weaves in. It's just fucking gorgeous. Very few issues with this album. I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's a fantastic rap release. And I'm not remotely disappointed by it. I suppose you could argue there are a few times where he could be a little bit cheesy, maybe like on 555 or on a Selfish, where he's like, better than truth in your heart and shit like that. Oh, 9 Drake coming in, Matt Villains and shit like that. Like little lines I guess you could call kind of cheesy, I guess, but it don't really bother me that much. But I wouldn't argue against someone else saying that. Overall, I'm feeling an 8. It's an awesome album. I recommend checking it out. I think his sound is just a perfect blend of introspective and personal with accessible. Like I could really see, like, just your average hip-hop fan, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't gravitate to someone like Sylvan LaCue. And I really hope that this review hopefully gets some people to check it out. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I'm feeling an 8. Thought it was awesome. Thanks for watching my review. Bye.